There is a moment in your life when the room you once felt lucky to enter starts to feel small. Not because the room changed, but because you did. And nobody warns you about that moment. Nobody tells you that growth is not loud. It does not arrive with applause. It arrives quietly, like distance. Distance in conversations. Distance in humor. Distance in dreams. You sit with people you've known for years, and somehow you feel alone. And that feeling confuses you. You start asking yourself, am I becoming arrogant? Am I changing too much? Why does this feel uncomfortable? But what if I told you, you're not becoming arrogant, you're becoming aware. And awareness is the beginning of separation. Listen to me carefully. Not everyone you start with is meant to finish with you. And that is not betrayal. That is evolution. When a tree grows taller, it doesn't apologize to the grass. It simply continues reaching for the sun. The problem is, you've been trying to shrink yourself so others don't feel uncomfortable. You dim your ambition. You laugh at conversations that no longer inspire you. You tolerate habits you've outgrown, just to maintain familiarity. But comfort is not loyalty, and growth is not disrespect. Let me ask you something. When was the last time your circle challenged you? When was the last time someone around you made you think bigger, move smarter, discipline yourself harder? Or are you the most focused person in every room? If you are always the most disciplined one, the most driven one, the most future-minded one, you are not in a circle. You are in a cage. And cages can feel comfortable when you've decorated them with memories. Here is the truth most people avoid. Growth changes your appetite. You stop craving noise. You stop craving validation. You stop craving attention. You begin craving peace, structure, depth. And suddenly the things that used to excite you feel empty. The late nights, the gossip, the endless scrolling, the jokes about staying broke, they don't hit the same anymore because your vision has expanded, and vision creates distance. Let me tell you a story. There was a young man who dreamed of building something meaningful. Every day he studied, every night he worked. His friends said, "Relax, you're doing too much." They laughed at his discipline. They called him intense. He began to feel isolated. But here is what he later realized. They weren't laughing at him. They were defending their comfort. Your growth threatens people who have chosen stagnation, not because they hate you, but because your discipline exposes their excuses. And most people would rather question you than question themselves. So they will say, "You've changed." They will say, "You think you're better." They will say you're becoming distant. And maybe you are, but distance is sometimes necessary to see clearly. Midway through this journey, you will feel tempted to go back, to shrink again, to refit into old conversations, to prove you're still the same. But if you go back to environments that no longer align with your future, you will start resenting them. And resentment is worse than separation. Here's the mid-truth nobody speaks about. You don't outgrow people because you hate them. You outgrow them because your future requires a different version of you. And different versions need different environments. A seed cannot become a tree if it refuses to leave the soil surface. You are not losing people. You are shedding layers. And shedding feels lonely before it feels powerful. Understand this deeply. There is a difference between loyalty and attachment. Loyalty is rooted in mutual growth. Attachment is rooted in shared history. History alone cannot sustain destiny. Ask yourself, are you staying because it aligns with your future, or because you're afraid of being misunderstood? The strongest individuals learn to walk alone for a season, not forever, but long enough to hear their own thoughts again, long enough to rebuild their standards, long enough to redefine their identity without noise. Because here is something powerful. When you elevate internally, your environment must elevate externally. If it does not, tension will grow. And tension is a signal, not a punishment. You feel uncomfortable because your mind is expanding beyond your surroundings. That discomfort is growth knocking. Do not silence it. I want you to imagine something. 5 years from now, you either stayed where it was comfortable or you embraced the loneliness of elevation. Which version of you feels lighter? Which version feels proud? The temporary discomfort of separation is nothing compared to the permanent regret of stagnation. You have outgrown conversations about survival. You are thinking about ownership. You have outgrown complaining. You are thinking about strategy. You have outgrown reacting emotionally. You are learning to respond intelligently. And that shift will not be understood by everyone. But it is not meant to be, because evolution is individual before it becomes communal. There will come a time when new people enter your life. Not louder, not flashier, but aligned. They will speak your language of growth. They will value time. They will respect ambition. And you will realize something powerful. It was never about leaving people behind. It was about walking toward your future. And some simply chose not to walk with you. That is okay. Wish them well. Release with peace. Grow without guilt. And remember this: the version of you that is uncomfortable right now is proof that you are expanding. Expansion requires space. Space requires separation. And separation requires courage. You've outgrown them, not because you are superior, but because you are evolving. Now the real question is, will you honor your growth, or will you shrink to stay familiar? Time does not pause for emotional comfort. Your potential is waiting on the other side of courage. Walk forward, even if you walk alone for a while, because solitude in growth is better than company in stagnation. And one day, you will look back, not with anger, not with pride, but with understanding. And you will say, that was the moment I chose myself. If this message resonated with you, do not ignore that feeling. Reflect on your circle, reflect on your habits, reflect on who you are becoming. And if you are ready to evolve fully, subscribe, commit to growth, and begin building an environment that matches your future. Because you deserve spaces that expand you, not ones that shrink you. Walk forward. I'll see you at the next level.